Hi, it's Heather from Heather's Michigan Garden, and it's the last week of August, and I wanted to do an update of my beautiful garden. And we just got back from an amazing family vacation to Spain, where I also toured some amazing gardens there. We visited some gardens in Granada and Sevilla and Barcelona, and it was absolutely amazing and beautiful, and I hope to post a video about the gardens that I toured there. I did see a lot of interesting differences between their gardens and my garden. I noticed that theirs is a lot more green and structured, a lot more evergreens, and not as many colorful flowers, but very beautiful. And I would love to have a garden like that as well. But with my garden is much more filled with color. So just depends on your preference on what you prefer. So anyway, we're going to take a look at my garden right now. I have behind me the French vanilla Hardy Hibiscus, and I also have some Holy Grail blooming right now, and they're looking really pretty. Way there behind me, I have some Candy Crush hibiscus that are blooming right now, and we'll get a closer look of those. And my Bobo hydrangeas are also blooming, and we'll just kind of take a look just to let you know that my cone flowers are pretty much done blooming. So you'll see some of those, they will look like they're dead, but they're not. They're just done blooming for the season, and I leave them for the birds for the fall and the winter to have something to forage on. So come along with me and we will get a closer look at my flowers. So right here I made a walkway between my two French vanilla hibiscus. That way you just have an entrance way onto the patio. On each end I have the Holy Grail Hardy Hibiscus planted. And I brought my tape measure around because I have been getting questions about the sizes of my plants. If you look at this French vanilla is right around 4 feet tall and about 3.5 feet wide. So just to give you an idea of the size of these hibiscus, they bloom for about a month, and I am in Michigan, so they do fine in the winter. I cut them back in the spring to about 3 to 4 inches, and then they grow up fresh from the ground and grow very quickly, but are one of the last to come up in the spring. So come on this way and I'll show you some more flowers here. Right here I have the blue chiffon Rose of Sharon. It is still blooming and looks really gorgeous. I've noticed a lot of bumblebees and hummingbirds buzzing along on these and feeding. And then if we come over on this side, this is the Bobo hydrangea, and we'll just go ahead, since I have the tape measure, we'll go ahead and see how tall this one is. And it's just, here's 4 feet right here, so right about 4 feet tall, and it looks like it's about 4 feet wide as well. And then this is the Spinderella hibiscus right here, and that one is doing really beautifully as well. We have a bird feeder that is right here that we have sunflower seeds in. And when the birds feed, they dropped a couple seeds down and planted this adorable and beautiful sunflower that came up for us. And I just thought it was so charming that I left it. I was so excited to see it there, but I think it really gave a nice little pop of yellow in this area. It also goes with the flower pot of super petunias that I have planted here that are from the Proven Winners. If we come up the stairs, right here I have the Candy Crush hibiscus. It's blooming great right now, and again, it's the last week of August, and I still have several blooms left on this to go, so I'm hoping it'll go into September. I did realize that a lot of our plants bloomed a couple of weeks earlier this year, so they'll probably get done a couple of weeks earlier this year as well. But we'll walk right around here. We had another sunflower that was planted here by the birds as well, and more Candy Crush. And I always mention that the hibiscus is meant to be viewed from all sides, so a nice 360-degree view. When you see spent blooms, just pull those off, and it keeps your hibiscus looking really beautifully. And you can see this one, look at how it looks right before it opens up. A really pretty color right there. And we'll walk over here. A lot of the plants in this flower bed were transplanted from my front yard. There were also some new plants that were planted as well. We have Baptisia in here that were transplanted from the garden over on this side. It did come back and it has really filled in, and I think next year it's going to be quite large. Right in the center area is the pufferfish hydrangea, and I'll go ahead and get a height for you on this. I'll go right in the center here, and it's, here's 2 feet right here, so just over 2 feet for this right now. This is their first full season in the ground. I planted them last fall, and it is 3 feet wide. So I have 4 of the pufferfish planted in here, and if you've seen the pufferfish at all, they do get this little spray right here on the top, and that's where it got its name, like a little puff right there. So that is the pufferfish. It's just full of blooms, as you can tell, and you can see that it does not turn color. It stays the white, and maybe turns, well, it might go a little bit green, but it does not go pink. So that's the pufferfish, and then you see all of my black-eyed Susan, the Rebecca. I have 2 ballet slipper hibiscus in this flower bed also, but they look like they're just about done blooming. I don't think they were the first ones to start blooming, and it looks like they're just about done. We'll walk right over here. We have 2 white chiffon Rose of Sharon right here. This is going to be into the entranceway to the wedding garden over here. These are a very beautiful white color. Very clean and pure looking. Here's a better example of how it looks right here. This was one of the last of my Rose of Sharon to start blooming, and as you can tell, there's still a lot of blooms on here to go. So be enjoying those for another few weeks, it looks like. We'll walk around this way inside of the fire pit area. And as you can see, I still have a lot of blooms on my Candy Crush in this flower bed, and just so you can get an idea of how tall. I don't know if my arm's long enough, but let's see. This is 6 feet right here, so it's over 6 feet tall. I'm not tall enough to reach that high. So it's 6 feet tall and about 6 feet wide. So that's a very big hardy hibiscus right there. And again, still blooming, end of August. Started blooming about 2 weeks earlier than last year. We've had a ton of rain this year, so everything is doing really well. I haven't even had to water my hibiscus out here at all. We'll walk around here to the pool area. This is beginning to be one of my favorite gardens that we have planted. Everything is doing really well. As you can see, I have the blue chiffon Rose of Sharon, and then I have the firelight tidbit planted in between. A few of my firelight tidbit struggled this year for some reason. I don't know why. And they did not bloom. I have like 2 or 3 that didn't bloom. But then there's others that are blooming beautifully. It might be a soil issue. But if you take a look at these blue chiffon Rose of Sharon, they look beautiful. And then here is one of those firelight tidbit that is blooming and looks really beautiful in here. And then I have a super bell planted next to it, and I did pop a few of those in there just to give a little extra color while I was waiting for all of these to start blooming. I'll walk around this way, and I have the Prairie Winds Apache Rose ornamental grass planted, and then you can see it is blooming, and you do see that rose color in here. I'll go ahead and walk this way. Look at this Jazzberry Supertunia in here. It really filled in and just really gave a beautiful pop of color in this flower bed. Also in here I have the Limelight Punch hydrangea, and we'll just take a look at that size of that. And looks like the tallest one is about 3 feet tall on this one. And then this is the, did I say firelight? I meant Limelight Punch. And then this is the Limelight, or the Little Lime. And this one, and it's the same thing, right around 3 feet in this one. And look at this gorgeous Limelight Punch right here. Absolutely gorgeous. These get, I believe, 3 to 5 feet tall and wide. And I have a tag right here just to confirm that. It's the Little Lime Punch, and yeah, it gets 3 to 5 feet tall. So we have those in here, and over here I planted a Gatsby Gal oak leaf hydrangea in here that is doing really well. And right now this Gatsby Gal is about 2 feet tall right now. So that's doing really well as also. We'll go right over here. Hi, Picasso. Hi, Kitty. So we'll step right over here and take a look at this flower bed. Here's another little sunflower that popped up in this flower bed also. Right here, I have the Rise Up Lilac Days Rose. That is doing really well. It bloomed really pretty. We do have one that's kind of spent right there. You can kind of see the lilac color on there. I have some Japanese anemone that's in this flower bed, and many transplants, the cat's meow nepeta in this flower bed. I have this is the holly, the Castle Spire holly. I have 2 female, and to get the berries, you have to have the male variety to go with it to get it to produce berries, and they have to be planted within 50 feet from one another to get those berries. This is a coral berry, and it does have, it looks like a couple little berries coming on this. This is a first year in the ground. So it was only in a 4-inch pot and was probably only about 4 inches tall when I planted it. So it's put on a good amount of height. It's almost 2 feet tall now, so that's doing really well. This is another white chiffon Rose of Sharon that's not blooming quite yet, but it is getting close. We did have some issues with some yellowing of the leaves. I think it was some chlorosis that was going on, so I put a little bit of iron down. If we step over here, pull these off. I have some more French vanilla and strawberry vanilla, which is kind of funny. So this is the strawberry vanilla, or vanilla strawberry hydrangea. This thing is over 6 feet tall, and some of it did not bloom. It behaved a little oddly this year. Not exactly sure why. I did have some chlorosis in this flower bed also, and I put some iron down in this one also, and it did do better. I had to separate a couple of my Incrediballs that were planted too closely together, because when I bought them, they were very small, and so I've separated them. They look kind of bad right now, but I think they'll be fine next year, hopefully. But the other Incrediballs are doing pretty well. And if we come over this way, you'll see I have more French vanilla planted in this one. And I just got out of work, so I hadn't really had a chance to clean this hibiscus up and pull off those spent blooms. But this is a prime example of, you just pull those off and it makes the hibiscus look a lot better. I usually like to put them in a container and dispose of them, but look at how much better that looks just having those pulled off. They do fall off on their own, but it all collects on the bottom, and sometimes they land on the leaves and make the leaves turn brown, so it just doesn't look as nice to me. So I do that. If we walk around this way, this is the wedding garden area. I'm actually going to go ahead and stop this video right here because I want to talk specifically about my hydrangeas, because I have had quite a few questions about that. So that was part of the backyard. I'm going to do another video and talk about the hydrangeas. And thanks for watching Heather's Michigan Garden on this little update of the backyard.